Good morning. It's a pleasure to once again welcome you to ViewPoint on the combined service of Radio Benue. The program is a 1-hour weekly personality slot that affords us the opportunity to come face to face with Nigerians that worth their audience, with a view to in turn give them opportunity to share their experience with our listener. Today we are happy to have in the studio another eminent Nigerian. Join me in listening to welcome the President, Nigerian Society of Engineers. My guest this morning is Engineer Mustafa Balarabe Shehu. It's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned. My name is David Ukuma, your host. Let us start this 1-hour interview by laying a foundation with the historical background of Nigerian Society of Engineers.
Well, the Nigerian Society of Engineers came into being precisely 55 years ago, as far back as 1958. Then the engineers were mostly actually in the UK, Nigerian engineers who studied in the UK, were coming together just to discuss their country, because they have there's no way you can be a Nigerian and find yourself wherever you are without having a feeling of the country you come from. Then the problem was that even though most of them studied abroad with their foreign counterparts, but back here in Nigeria, when they come, the positions given to their European classmates is superior normally from the position given to the Nigerian engineers, even though they studied in the same class, had the same qualification and everything. Then they say, look, we just have to have an association whereby we voice out our opinion and we voice out all our concerns to the leadership of the country. Let the leadership know that the color is immaterial. We studied in the same class with these guys, and we were exposed to the same curriculum, and oftentimes even you may even be much better than your European counterpart. Then they started mooting the idea of having the Nigerian Society of Engineers in London. Then they came back to Nigeria in Abeokuta. Abeokuta was actually the town where the Nigerian Society of Engineers was born, then in 1958. Then, of course, after series of discussion, they started getting in contact with the government then. And of course, their views were being listened to, and gradually, things started normalizing, in the sense that once you are a graduate engineer, you will not be, given a second-class consideration compared to your European counterpart. That was where it started. And as of today, we have come all along. There has been a series of leadership of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, and I am, as of today, the 28th President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers.
And so basically the setting up of this body was to do away with the disparity between the foreign and indigenous engineers.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those.
Okay.
And one of those.
Okay. And now, how far have you gone in achieving the objectives for which the body was formed?
Well, we have gone far, even though up to today we can't say we have succeeded in all our ambitions, in the sense that we are still facing challenges in this country, even 55 years after our existence. Still, there is no deliberate policy that makes the Nigerian engineer given first right of consideration in a lot of things. There are a lot of opportunities in the country, a lot of jobs in the country, which a lot of our people could do, and yet you find that consideration is given in a lot of cases to foreign contractors, foreign nationals, for a lot of things. And that explains why, as at today, a lot of our members, not only our members, a lot of professionals in many other disciplines are out of job or underemployed, because each country should have a deliberate policy to protect the interest of its citizens. Because before you graduate an engineer or you get an engineer, he has to go a lot of training, primary school, secondary school, university. A lot of money is being invested before somebody comes out with any qualification, be it engineering, architecture, quantity surveying, land surveying, whatever it is. So for you to expend and invest a lot of money in such an individual, and yet after graduation he finds difficulty in securing job or in sustaining himself, it means we are really wasting a lot of money on ourselves. More so, there are a lot of jobs being carried out in the country. With the amount of jobs being carried out in the country, there should be no reason why any professional, not only an engineer, will be out of job. But then the policies has to be put right and has to be straightened in such a way that if there is any job that a Nigerian can do, then consideration should not be given to somebody outside the country. We are not also unaware of global competition. We are not saying that yes, the Nigerian engineer can do everything. There is no country on earth that can boast itself to say that all that is being done in that country is being done by its nationals. We are not unaware of that. We are also not unaware of the fact that sometimes you could experience some sharp practices from our people when given one job or the other. But what we are saying is that even if you have or you experience some deficiency or some defect or some sharp practices by one Nigerian professional, it is not enough a reason to say that yes, you condemn all the Nigerian professionals. But then, number one, penalize that guy or that company, because penalty is what makes people repeat the same mistake. Lack of penalty. So if you penalize whoever defaults or whoever does anything wrong or whoever executes his projects wrongly, you see, everybody will see that yes, you have penalized. Then get another Nigerian engineer or another Nigerian professional to do a similar job. That is what we are saying. With that kind of policy, if everybody knows that people will be penalized for doing what is wrong, people will deter from doing wrong as much as possible. And that is exactly what is happening in all other countries. Even the other countries in Europe, in the Americas, in Asia, they are not really doing the right thing just because they are naturally good. We are all created the same. We are all the same. But then every human being fears or does not like to be punished or to be put in shame, because everybody wants to protect the integrity, his own integrity, the integrity of his family. So if you know that you are going to be put to shame or sometimes even lose their life, definitely you will not do a lot of things. So that is what we are saying. Whatever a Nigerian can do, give it to Nigerian. If he defaults, penalize him appropriately, but then give it to another Nigerian who in the best of your thinking and belief, he will do the right thing. But if there is none, then give it to the Nigerian, but tell him to partner with a foreigner who has expertise in such disciplines.
Okay, I thank you very much. We can go ahead to talk about what you have just raised here. What can you say is the involvement of Nigerian engineers in building of major Nigerian projects? I asked this question again because with the presence of heavy population of Nigerian engineers, we still see foreigners handling major projects like power, waterworks, railroads, and others. Does it mean your men are not or cannot do these things?
No.
This for emphasis. You spoke about this, but is a concern to many in Nigeria.
Sure, it's a serious concern. This is what I was trying to say much earlier on. Agreed, our members are being involved in a lot of projects in the country as of today, but not to the extent to which it is supposed to be. And that explains why a lot of young engineers and a lot of mid-level engineers also are unemployed or underemployed. What we are saying is that...
Sorry, but what could have been the reason for this?
The reason given by the government is they are saying that you don't have the experience in this or that job. That is the reason given by the government. But I always say, look, that is not enough a reason, because you can only have experience if you are given the challenge. That is what is being done everywhere in the world. You can be given the job, then the client will make it mandatory for you to get a foreign partner who has expertise in that particular assignment. Then you partner with him. But you should be the lead partner, because it is your country. Because it's the whole essence of infrastructure is not only to have the infrastructure alone, but also to develop the local capacity, so that in the future, if you want to expand such infrastructure, the local capacity being developed in the first project could be used to develop the second or the expansion of such project. Then these professionals, when they partner with any foreign company that has expertise in that particular assignment, you see, when they do the design together, they do the construction together, next time they may not need to partner with such a foreign firm. They must have developed their capacity, because some of these jobs take 5, 6, 10 years even to finish. Within 5, 6, 10 years, you could even train, a young graduate, go to a university, go and attend some specialized course in such areas, so that when that project is finished, the time you want to expand on that project or to do a similar project elsewhere, these professionals can do that. That is what we are saying. But if you say today, okay, company so there is no Nigerian company that has ever done it, and so you will never give a Nigerian company. Maybe in the next 10, 20 years, there will not be any. But then you have to challenge. There are companies, there are engineers who have integrity. And a professional is somebody who knows his limit. There are so many professionals, every professional knows his limit, knows what he can do and what he cannot do. And also we know our colleagues everywhere in the world. The Nigerian Society of Engineers is a national member of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, is a national member of World Federation of Engineering Organizations. So we know our colleagues everywhere in the world. So if you give me an assignment which I know I lack sufficient expertise in that, I know who and who to call wherever in the world to come and partner with me on my own terms, in a way that at the end of the project we have developed the capacity of our own people who can, number one, maintain the job, number two, repeat similar jobs if need arises, within that location or any other location in the country. That is how things are done. But not to stay for 50 years and there is no indigenous firm that can do mega projects. It's not done anywhere. All these Asian countries developed because of that political will on the part of their leadership. Countries like Malaysia were we're at the same level 40, 50 years ago. We're definitely at the same level. But today, Malaysian companies are doing a lot of things themselves. They are not any better than us. Brazil, that is the same thing.
So you want Nigerian government to try Nigerian engineers?
Oh, yes.
Okay, you've identified this as a challenge. Government not involving indigenous engineers in handling major projects. Is that the only headache you face? Or there are other challenges?
Well, there are so many challenges one is facing, and there are also challenges within ourselves also. Of course, we are trying to build capacity within ourselves, because you see, engineering is a problem-solving profession. Once you are not able to solve a problem for your client, then your client looks at you with disdain. And the slightest opportunity he has to kick you out, he kicks you out. So we have identified gaps which we are trying to bridge, especially in capacity development gaps. And that is why we have a training arm of the Nigerian Society of Engineering, which we call Engineering Practice and Resource Center. So we organize a lot of courses, workshops and seminars on very many topics, on specialized topics in engineering, which we invite our members to come and participate. Because engineering, as we all know also, is a very dynamic profession. It changes very rapidly with time, especially in this electronic age. So one has to be constantly updating himself through knowledge sharing, through knowledge acquisition, through learning. And these are some of the things we are also, addressing.
Okay, you are addressing them.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now, let's look at the hierarchy of this society. Nigerian Society of Engineers. How is it like?
Well, we have at the peak of the ladder the president. Then we have the deputy president. The deputy president automatically becomes the next president at the expiration of the tenure of the president. It doesn't go through any election. Like now, I have a deputy president. So he's just waiting for my tenure to elapse end of this year. By January, he takes over. He will not go through any election. Then we have 3 vice presidents. And these 3 vice presidents go through election every year. And for you to be eligible to contest for deputy president, you must have served as vice president 2 or 3 times within a span of 5 years. Otherwise, you will not be eligible to contest for deputy president. And before you become eligible to contest for deputy president also, you must have served in your branch or in the division as chairman. Like Makurdi branch is a branch. Makurdi is a branch. So the chairman of Makurdi branch, or whoever served as chairman of Makurdi branch, is eligible to contest for vice president at the national level. Then we have 6 ESCO members. We have 8 ESCO members. 6 ESCO members who are elected at the AGM. Then 3 ESCO members who are selected, representatives of the divisions. For what I mean by division and branches, the NSE as at now has 58 branches spread all over the country in terms of geographical boundary, like Jos branch, Makurdi branch, Kano branch, Ikeja branch, Lagos branch, Asaba branch, things like that. Then we have divisions spread across disciplines of the engineering profession. The engineering, there's nothing called like BSc engineering. It has to be BSc electrical, BEng electrical, civil, mechanical, agricultural, metallurgical, water resources, things like that. So we have 18 professional divisions and 58 branches. So for you to contest for the position of vice president, you must have served as chairman of either a branch or a division.
Okay, and then you must have served as the deputy president for 3 times, or you must have served as a vice president for 3 times, because before you are eligible to
contest
for deputy president.
Sure.
And the road to emerging as the president is very rough. I can see it's narrow.
Yes, it's narrow. It's narrow, but we want to eliminate a possibility whereby somebody will just come at the leadership of a system without knowing much about the system. It's narrow, but you see, once you are there, I mean, the chances that you will disappoint your electorate or your membership is very slim, because you have been in the system for long. People have identified your traits, your capability, right from the time you are a chairman, because as a chairman, you attend council meeting at the headquarters. So people will see your contribution as chairman of Makurdi branch, chairman of Kano branch, as chairman of Lagos branch. So if you say you want to come to contest at the national level, people would say, look, this guy is good, this guy is not good. You know, people who have identified you.
So don't you do zoning in this emerging as vice president and deputy president, this zoning of positions, this one goes to
there is nothing like zoning per se on the book. But of course, zoning could also assist somebody in some cases. If, for example, 10 people are contesting for the position of vice president, naturally, you know, because it's a combination of everybody from all over the country, normally people will not like to see one region dominating the whole thing. So naturally, people will want to see that the vice presidents are spread, you know, from the different geographical locations. But then, whatever the situation, the zoning is not for granted. You can't take it for granted, but it could assist you in winning election. But if you don't work hard to make sure that you get the votes of the people from other regions, definitely you can lose out.
And so if one is eyeing your position maybe in 2020 or 2025, the politics start now.
Oh yes, and there is no way you can be the president of NSE if you don't have the general acceptance of the majority of the Nigerian engineers from across the regions. Okay. Because no one region can beat its chest to say that it can produce president without the cooperation of the other regions.
Now, what are your duties and responsibilities as president of this body?
Well, my number one duty is I'm the chairman of the council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I am to project the image of the society. I am to protect the integrity of the society everywhere I find myself. And also I have to advocate for our members' interest to be protected and to be projected forward. And also I have to make sure that, yes, I take NSE everywhere within the country and also outside the country. Because as I told you earlier on, we are a national member of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, and we are a national member of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. And it is my duty, therefore, to make our presence seen internationally. And to that effect, even as president, I was able to score some, you know, publicity and even administrative or even diplomatic mileage for the society at the international scene. Last year, we applied for the hosting right of the World Engineering Conference when we went for the World Engineering Conference in Slovenia. So we applied for hosting right of the World Engineering Conference in Nigeria, and we made a presentation, and the presentation was highly appreciated by the World Engineering body, and our application was approved. So as I'm discussing with you now, I'm glad to tell you that we have won the hosting right of the World Engineering Conference in 2014. So the World Engineering body will come to Nigeria for the first time, because we have never had it that way. We had never hosted World Engineering Conference in the history of Nigeria. But next year, inshallah, we are going to host it. So you see, this is part of my responsibility to take the image of NSE and Nigeria, forward. And also at the continental level, we were able to get the approval of the General Assembly of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations to host the Secretariat in Abuja. So that is, a diplomatic mileage also. So all these are responsibilities of the president.
Okay, now, is there any benefit hosting World Engineering Body?
Oh yes. Number one, as you know, it's not easy for you to invite any international program to your country. To invite people like this World Engineering Conference, we are expecting about 400 foreign delegates. So it is a diplomatic plus to the country, not to the Nigerian Society of Engineers alone. Especially in this period when a lot of the country is facing a lot of security challenges. But then you still go and convince a world body that they can come to Nigeria and have a conference. So when they come, they will see a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. And we are looking for people to come and appreciate what we have. In spite of all the challenges we are facing as a country, we still have a lot of positives in us. But some people fear to come to Nigeria because of all the information being peddled around, which oftentimes are exaggerated. But if they come and see that, yes, it's possible to come to Nigeria, yes, we are a set of good people, yes, there are a lot of opportunities, I mean, they will come in and, they will also help in developing our country.
Okay, you bid for hosting right.
Yes.
I want to believe that various chapters and units will also bid, so that when World Engineering body comes to Nigeria, they will now take the hosting right. For instance, Benue will now say that they are good, to host the function, the event. Is it possible like that, or you decide?
No. If you are applying for hosting right of any international event, right from the beginning, it's not the question of you let it to the decision of the country to decide which city this program is to take place. It is Abuja. We have already said it, and that is the agreement we had with them, that the conference will be in Abuja.
Okay.
And I have no right to change it. So I can't take it to any city. In fact, definitely they will not even agree to go to anywhere other than Abuja.
I wish I'm part of you, so that in 2014 I will be there.
I'm inviting you.
Now, even if you've been visiting Benue, it hasn't been noticeable like today. What then informed your presence in Benue today?
Well, as a president, I took over this responsibility January last year, and it is part of my responsibility also to reach out to my electorate. The Makurdi engineers are part of the people who elected me, or who have been electing me consistently over the years, since the times I was vice president, deputy president. So it's just normal. It's part of my schedule to go around some branches. Of course, I can't go to 58 branches, but somehow I have soft spot for Makurdi. And they invited me. I looked at my schedule. I, created time for it, and I said I will come. So the essence is to come here, interact with the membership of the engineers here in Makurdi. We share our thoughts together. Let them, let them allow me to have a feeling of their thinking, of the leadership. And let me also tell them of my expectation on them. We rub minds together. There is no way you can lead a set of people if you don't know what is really in their mind. And a lot of them are even your seniors anyway. And there are some of them are your seniors, some of them are your juniors. So there's a lot of wisdom you can tap from, a lot of them if you interact with them, so that you be in a better position to discharge your responsibility as a leader.
Okay. Now, how do you describe your visits to the state?
No,
I'm sure you've rounded off.
Yeah, I'm rounding up today actually with this program. And honestly, the Benue people have impressed me from the reception I have received. In fact, whatever activity I go through, I meet, their actions. They go beyond my expectation. In the reception, in the accommodation given to me, in all the programs I participated. The coordination, the arrangement of the program is marvelous, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's your appraisal of this body in Benue?
Well, the appraisal of this body is in Benue. They are doing fine, honestly, but there are a lot of there are other things also they have to do more in terms of creating more awareness among the members also, and also creating some activities which will attract the public attention, in Makurdi. Because it's one thing for you to say you are an engineer, you are this, you are that, but then how relevant are you to the community? How helpful are you to the community? What kind of problems are you able to solve for the community? That is the basis for which the community will like you or not like you, or respect you or not respect you. And that is why I'm hailing them when they told me to unveil the community engineering program.
And so what is this all about, this community engineering program?
Well, the community engineering program is a program we thought up at the national body, and we tasked all the branches to go and do some things. It is all about adding value to the community you come from, solving some little problems in the environment you find yourself as an engineer. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking of small repairs of probably there is a road from one place to the other, some potholes which need repairs before the authority could come. If the engineers, knowing fully well what to do, if they have some money, they can just arrange for the repair of such roads, which is not much, and just come and do it even before the authorities, come and do it. Or some water leakages. In a lot of places you see some water pipes probably leaking. So before the water board or water authorities come, if engineers have some resources, they can just get that done, assist the government, assist the people who are benefiting from that, or even clean up certain areas, or help in some deficiencies, like in some schools that do not have sufficient mathematics teachers or science teachers. Some of our members could volunteer to taking some subjects, periodically, at least to bridge those gaps that are existing, and which are necessary to be bridged if you really want to get somebody who will be capable of reading engineering in the university. So these are the things we are thinking of doing in every community.
Basically, the program is for community service.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you've been listening to ViewPoint on the combined service of Radio Benue. And so far, our guest, the National President, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Mustafa Balarabe Shehu, has dwelt on issues surrounding the engineering profession in Nigeria. Now, let's look clinically on who is your member and who then should be referred to as an engineer, because you have many parading themselves as engineers today.
Well, an engineer is somebody who has undergone engineering training in an accredited university or tertiary institution. When I say accredited, I mean accredited by law. When I say by law, we have an engineering regulatory arm. The regulatory arm of the profession is the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, popularly called COREN. So they go round, COREN goes round to accredit the programs of all engineering institutions. So for you to be called an engineer, you must have gone through that institution. If it is a university, you must have gone through COREN accredited university to obtain your degree. Then you work for 4 years under the tutelage of a registered engineer before you become eligible to apply and sit for examination to become a corporate member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And when you become a corporate member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, then you apply to the Council for Regulation of Engineering to become a registered engineer. And you'll be given a certificate for that. And in that certificate, it will specify exactly what your discipline is. And that is what, by law, qualifies you to practice engineering in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because COREN is established by an Act of Parliament, Act 55 of 1970, which was also amended in 1996. So it is established by law.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, graduating from a university or tertiary institution from an engineering department or course alone does not make you an engineer. That's what you are saying here.
Oh yes, you have to go through examination also.
Okay.
You have to go through examination. If it is a polytechnic, you went through, or you go through. If you have a HND, then you have to go through a bridging course, a postgraduate diploma in the relevant field. You have the HND.
Okay.
So that qualifies you to sit for the examination, and once you pass, you become an engineer, a registered engineer.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, desire of many young people is to be called engineers. The problem many face is the fact that one must study sciences in the face of lack of teachers and instructional materials in this area. Don't you think your society can do something here?
Well, you see, we can do something in terms of advocacy, because the responsibility of providing science teachers everywhere in the world lies squarely on the government, because it has to plan how to get certain number of professionals to man the affairs of the country. So in the planning, educational planning, there has to be deliberate policy of how do we get science teachers for secondary schools, how do we get engineering teachers for universities, for polytechnics, But as I told you now, in the community engineering program, that is just an ad hoc arrangement. It cannot be something that a system could rely upon completely, because the country has to have dedicated teachers who are paid to do that. And the more the qualified teachers we have in these science subjects, the more the students will feel comfortable reading science subjects. Because in a lot of times, it's not that reading science subject is difficult per se. It's because you don't have good teachers who really understand what it is. Because once you have good teachers, the students will understand the subject very easily. This is happening. This is what is happening all over the world. Nobody sees science as something very difficult in other parts of the world because they have very good teachers. So to have very good teacher is a policy that the government has to have and also has to be willing to implement. There is no two ways about it. There's no two ways about that.
You said you can only come in by way of advocacy.
Yeah, we can come in by way of advocacy to.
Have you been?
Oh yes, we have been.
Okay.
We are always, interacting with the government, with the policy makers. You understand, to make sure that all these necessary things that need to be done, we tell them and we give them with facts and figures and in a way that they understand and in the way that they believe in us.
Okay. Now, the issue of building collapse is gradually having its way in Nigeria as no year passes by without such cases in one part of the country or the other. What is your view about this?
Yes, building collapse, as you rightly say, it has become a recurrent decimal because we have not been doing things, with a consistent approach to following the rules of the game anywhere, as being done everywhere. So we have to face the consequences of that action. But that notwithstanding, we as the engineering family are very much concerned about that, because once you hear building collapse, people look at it as the failure of the Nigerian engineer.
Sure.
That is the first
impression.
But in a lot of the collapses that occur, we normally go. In fact, we have a committee, Prevention, Investigation and Failure Analysis Committee. So we have that committee everywhere, almost all the major cities in the country, that those committees will look at buildings, look at if the buildings has started showing some signs of failure. We alert the authorities and also the owner. And if the failure occurs, we go and investigate. We trace who is the owner, who designed the building, who constructed the building, and how has it been managed over time, because these are the reasons why we get collapse. But incidentally, most of the cases we hear about, collapsed building, if you go and investigate, you find that developers go ahead and do get their buildings done without recourse to getting a design from professional engineers, without recourse to making sure that a professional engineer supervises the construction. So this is what I'm telling you as our number one problem in the country. Even though we have some rules in the development, there is no major city that doesn't have development control office, but the development control office doesn't have the capacity to monitor every building that is springing up in that city. Okay. And also the level of corruption also makes matters worse, in the sense that even if there is laid down rule, if somebody break the rules, he's not penalized. So these are the issues which, if we don't take them serious, this problem will, keep recurring. But then we have also, that is why we have the Engineering Regulation and Monitoring Committee of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. Even yesterday during the dinner, they came off to be introduced, those ones in Makurdi. And these are engineers of proven integrity. So they have the responsibility of going around to see any major engineering project going on. And if there is any sign of such failure, they alert the authorities, and then we take appropriate action.
Okay, now you said owners of buildings go ahead with their work without recourse to engineering advice. Does it mean you have never traced a case to failure on the part of engineers since this issue of building collapse in
We do
Nigeria?
We do have, and that is why we have engineering tribunal. Probably, in fact, it has been reported even in the electronic and print media. Anytime we try any engineer that is erring, that we found him wanting in the discharge of his responsibility, we penalize him. Sometimes we revoke his license to practice. And we publicize this. We publicize it widely, as wide as possible, so that people will know that the engineering family is conscious of its responsibility, and we are also conscious of the fact that our members can go wrong. We are advocating for our members to be patronized, but we are not saying that whatever our members are doing, is correct. No. Those who do wrong, we penalize them and we publicize the penalty. We don't take it lightly. It's a very serious offense to do something professionally unethical or professionally wrong. But then we have to know. So even you people in the media, in the and the general public, if you can identify any engineer that is wanting in the discharge of his responsibility, let us know, because we need such reports from the general public to know, so that wherever an engineer is working, he will know that somebody can report him to the authorities if he is wrong, because that in itself make people to do the right thing.
Okay, the desire of all Nigerians is to see that this issue of building collapse is nipped in the bud completely.
Yeah.
And now, as a professional, what can we do? What could be done, to achieve this in specific terms?
Well, in specific, number one, as I told you, we have this engineering regulation and monitoring. Number two, we are also thinking of devising a means whereby the Development Control Office probably outsource some of its responsibilities to some consultants who are competent in supervising some buildings, maybe to sectionalize the cities. Maybe one consultant will take care of this section of the city. They have so many ways of sectionalizing any city. If they can do that, they outsource the responsibility of supervising all the buildings in the state. Then, and of course, they charge the developer, some amount, out of which they pay the consultants. Through that, they will have a wider, outreach in their supervision capability. That is what we are thinking about, and we have started those discussions in Abuja. So if it scales through, probably we will try to implement it in other cities.
So what does the future hold for engineering profession in Nigeria?
The future holds very bright for the engineering profession in Nigeria, and in fact the world over, because we are a developing country, and once we say a country is developing, it means there is a lot to be done. And when we say there's a lot to be done, all the lot to be done is engineering. So which means whatever discipline of engineering you read, you study, you will have a lot to do, or you will have a lot of opportunities to tap from.
Okay, at this point I want to tell you that my listener is keenly waiting to know who engineer Mustafa Balarabe Shehu really is.
Well, as you said, I'm engineer Mustafa Balarabe Shehu, born in Kano 50 years ago. I attended my primary schools in Kano, then went to Government College Kaduna to have my secondary education. Then after that I attended Ahmad Bello University Zaria, where I read electrical engineering and graduated in 1985. I had my youth school in Enugu, in the Electrical Inspector Division, Federal Ministry of Mines and Power then, which were covering Anambra, Imo, Cross Rivers, including Benue. Then after that, I worked with the National Electric Power Authority in Lagos Thermal Station, Egbin. From there, I turned to serve the Kano State Electricity Board from 88 to 98. And from 98 to date, I am operating a private engineering firm, MBS Engineering Limited, which has office in Abuja and Kano.
Okay, you worked with NEPA, the then NEPA.
Yes.
And many Nigerians, nicknamed this company Never Expect Power Always.
Yes.
And that was being the case. Today, the company is metamorphosed into PSCN, Power Holding Company of Nigeria.
Yes.
Again, Nigerians refer the company to as pay high, consume consume nothing. What really is the problem?
You see, to my understanding, the problem of the power sector in the country is the problem of leadership of the country. Because, as we all know, leadership is what dictates what happens anywhere in the world. Just anywhere in the world. If the leadership of a country is willing to get this done, it has the resources, it has the authority over anybody. It has the power to give and to penalize. But if it is not willing, then it will not discharge its responsibility in exercising its authority or its ability to penalize anybody who does anything wrong, or its capacity to expand the infrastructure. As we all know, the power infrastructure has been, has not experienced development for quite some times. For about 15 to 20 years, there was no expansion, and the population is expanding. But even the existing structure, there was no discipline in it, from top to bottom. And that is why we find ourselves in the condition. But we have no business being in darkness in Nigeria if we have been, if our leadership has been committed over time. Because why I say leadership is the leadership that is responsible to appoint anybody to discharge any responsibility. The leadership of a country has power over anybody. And there is no person, no citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria would be called upon, come and do this. We know you are an expert in this. Come and do this, and he will say no. He will come and do it. But then he has to see the willingness of the leadership giving him that responsibility. And also, if he knows that if he does anything wrong, he's going to be penalized seriously, he will not do it. Because he likes himself, he likes his integrity, he likes his family. But if he knows that whatever he does will go, I mean, he's human, he can do whatever. And if he's given the responsibility, but then he was giving interference, I mean, there's a lot of interference. You give him responsibility, then you send this man or that lady to come and do this, whom you cannot really penalize, then there will be problem. It means you are given responsibility, but you are handicapped. So these are the problems to my understanding. They look engineering problem. Yeah, this thing is faulty, there is power failure there, but look, my friend, once a leader wants anything, it will be done. Once a leader needs anything to be done, it will be done. God has given the leadership that power. So it is the leadership, and everywhere in the world, it's the leadership that determines the success or otherwise of any system.
Okay, at present?
Well, at present, we are making some headway in the sense that we have recognized that gap which existed before. So there has been effort to improve on the infrastructure, to get more power stations, to get more transmission stations. But still, even now what we are talking of are the projects that were started 10, 12 years ago. We are all talking about NIPP, 10,000 megawatts additional on the grid. But what are we doing to start new generation stations? We have not started anything. We are just singing the song of projects that were started 12 years ago. This is all what we are doing now. So we have to start new projects which are twice or three times what was started 12 years ago.
Okay, Engineer Mustafa Shehu, people of your status are always wanting to bring their experience to bear on elective or appointive positions in politics. And the journey to another political dispensation, it seems to have commenced. What is Engineer MB Shehu doing?
Well, personally, I'm a consultant. I have an engineering firm. And that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, since I left the government service. And of course, that's what I intend to continue doing even after my tenure as president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Because I love the job. I love to see my office very busy, growing. I love to see engineers very busy, handling projects here, there. And that's what I love doing.
If you have a position in politics, for instance, you can equally have your office very busy always. And of course, you've said it here that leadership can direct. At that time, you can still direct engineers to do one thing or the other.
Well, if leadership directs me to carry one assignment or the other, who am I to say no to the leadership? I cannot say no.
Okay, your words to your colleagues aiming and scheming for political positions in 2015.
Well, my words to them is that it is very good for professional engineers and other professionals also to go into politics. It is really very good because it gives you a better platform to serve your community. Because what we are facing today in the country is lack of basic infrastructure. That is one of the main things. If you talk of two problems in Nigeria, bedeviling the country is infrastructure and security. And once you improve on the infrastructure very well, a lot of the security challenges will go. So, and as far as infrastructure development is concerned, somebody who has background in engineering will really, comprehend a lot on what to do and how to put infrastructure in the best way possible in the country or in the state he finds himself.
Okay. Time is against us now, and so how would you want the rest of Nigerians to view indigenous engineers? We are running off.
Well, I want the general public to view indigenous engineers as any other engineer from any part of the world, because a lot of us actually even graduated from the foreign institution, and some have even worked outside before coming back to Nigeria. So what I want is to give the indigenous engineers first right of refusal, or first right right of consideration, first right of consideration. Because once you do that, you are creating more opportunities for your people, because we are all bearing children, and we are training them within the country or outside the country. But even if you train your child outside the country, where is he going to work after graduation? It has to be Nigeria. Because today, even abroad, hardly any foreigner gets any job because of the global job problems. So he has to come to the country, and when the opportunities are not created in the country, so even your child who you train abroad cannot have opportunity to work.
Okay. Now, before we go out of the studio, I imagine your colleagues and intending engineers waiting for your fatherly advice.
Well, the advice I will give to my colleagues is that we try, number one, to know our profession as much as possible, know the job very well, and also discharge your responsibility with credibility.
Okay, Mr. President, I am fully aware that you have a lot in mind to tell our listener, but this is how far time permits us today. I want to say thank you for finding time out of your crowded schedule to feature on our personality program.
Thank you very much, David.
Teve Agabi is the recording studio manager. The production team has been led by the executive producer Elvis Atta, with Igba Ogbole as the supervising producer and Patrick Omora the desk assistant. Until same time next week, when we shall bring you another guest. I am David Ukuma, your host. Good morning once again, and happy weekend.